I'm now going to begin an engine compartment assessment. I look under the truck and there are no leaks. And I walk to the passenger side. Passenger side general hoses, properly mounted and secured at both ends. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, not leaking. Belt-driven alternator, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All wires are connected. The belt is not cracked or frayed, and the free play on the belt itself should be between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch. Now I'll walk to the driver's side. Driver's side general hoses, properly mounted and secured on both ends, on all ends. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, not leaking. Next we have the belt-driven water pump, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking. The belt is not cracked or frayed, and it has between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch of free play, or no more than that. Then onto our fluids, we have our coolant reservoir, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, filled to manufacturer's specifications and not leaking. We have our power steering fluid, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, filled to manufacturer's specification and not leaking. Our third is our oil. We have, and it is filled to manufacturer's specifications and checked with a dipstick. Then back here behind the frame, we have our gear-driven air compressor, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and our gear-driven power steering pump, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking for both of those. Then we move over here, we have our steering gearbox and hose, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. There are, the hose is properly mounted and secured at both ends, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and it is not leaking. Next we have our steering linkage. Here, and around right down there. This is our pitman arm, this is our drag link, and that back there connecting both of the wheelbases is our tie rod. Okay, properly mounted, secured at all ends, not cracked, bent, or broken, not missing any castle nuts or cotter pins. So from here we can get into our suspension, brakes, and wheels. Spring mount, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. Leaf spring, spring arm, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, none missing, not shifted. U-bolts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, none missing. Shock absorber, properly mounted and secured at both ends, not cracked, bent, or broken, and not leaking. That's our suspension. Then we move into our brakes. Brake lines, properly mounted and secured at both ends, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, not leaking. Brake chamber, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking. Slack adjuster push rod, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. With the brakes released and pulled by hand, should not move more than 1 inch. And then under here, we have our brake drum, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and our brake lining, properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not worn dangerously thin, and no oil or debris. And that is our brakes. And we move out here to do our wheel. Our tire, properly mounted and secured, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts to the tread or the sidewall. Tread depth is no less than 4/32 of an inch when checked with an air gauge. It is filled to manufacturer's specifications. Next we have the rim, properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, no unauthorized holes or welds. Then we have our lugs, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no rust trails or powder residue to indicate a loose nut, and no cracks around the bolt holes to indicate over torquing. And finally, under here we have our hub seal, properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, filled to manufacturer's specifications, and not leaking. That completes our engine compartment assessment.